If Jesus were to say to you, this is your hour, what would your hour look like? If Jesus were to say, this is your hour. Now, I don't think he meant that literally. These are your 60 minutes. I think what he meant to those guards in the garden, I think he was saying, listen, this is your moment. This is your time to shine. This is your moment where you get to make history. When that's your moment, when it's your hour, what will your hour look like? What will reign in your hour? Will darkness reign or will light reign? Will evil reign or will goodness reign? Will lies reign or will the truth reign? Will greed reign or will generosity reign? Will bitterness reign or will forgiveness reign? Will self-indulgence reign or will self-control reign? Will rage reign or will peace reign? Will hatred reign or will love reign? When it's your hour, what will reign during your hour? Truth be told, friends, here's what you got to understand. There's a pretty good chance that every person in this room, every person watching online right now, there's a good chance that God has already said to you, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're a dad, if you're a father in the audience. Dads, the moment that God allowed you to become a father is the moment God himself said, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're a mom. Moms, the moment that God allowed you to give birth to a child or adopt a child is the moment that God said, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're on a sports team of some sort, if you're an athlete on a team. The moment that God allowed you to be on that team is the moment that God said, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're a teacher or an educator in a school somewhere. The moment that you joined that school staff is the moment that God said, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're an entrepreneur or maybe a business owner of some sort. The moment that God allowed you to run that business, it's his business. He's just allowing you to run his business. The moment he allowed you to run that business is the moment that God said, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're a supervisor or a boss of some sort. You're a manager somewhere. The moment that God gave you authority to lead other people, other staff, other employees, is the moment that God said, this is your hour. Raise your hand if you're a politician. Oh wait, politicians don't come to church, right? So let me speak to you, Michelle Lujan Grisham, because I know you're watching this clip that somebody's going to share with you. Ms. Lujan, the moment that God allowed you to become the governor of the great state of New Mexico is the moment that God said, this is your hour. And when it's our hour, will things get darker or lighter when it's our turn? When it's up to us, if it's up to us, do things get darker or do they get brighter when it's our hour? Let me share with you a couple quotes. Listen to this quote from Smith Wigglesworth. He said, only if we allow God's will to reign in us will we be truly powerful. The only way you're going to become powerful in whatever you do is if you allow God to reign in your life. Listen to this quote from Henry Blackaby. He says, Jesus taught that your highest priority must be your relationship with him. Listen to this part. He says, if anything detracts you from that relationship, that activity is not from God. God will not ask you to do something that hinders your relationship with Christ. If you're doing something that hinders you or your kids from the relationship with Christ, that activity is not from God. Listen to this quote from Billy Graham. He says, when we come to Christ, we're no longer the most important person in the world to us. Christ is. When you start following Jesus, all of a sudden, you're not the most important person in the world anymore. Jesus is. At least he should be. These are three different people saying three different statements that are all saying essentially the same thing, which is this, write this down. Jesus should reign during your hour. When it's up to you, when you get to call the shots, what will reign during your hour? Jesus should be the highest priority in your life. He should be the most important person in your life. He should be your King of Kings. He should be your Lord of Lords. I love what David said in Psalm 103. He says, the Lord has established his throne in heaven and his kingdom rules over all. Does God's kingdom rule over everything in your life? Does his kingdom rule over all for you? When it's up to you, when it's your hour, what will reign in and through you? This group comes in to the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus says, listen, you showed up with swords in clubs. Mind you, he could bring down legions, thousands of angels, and obliterate these people. But he said, this is your hour, when darkness reigns. What causes darkness to reign? Darkness reigns when somebody does the opposite of what God has told them and commanded them to do. You will allow darkness to reign when you reject God. You will allow darkness to reign when you disobey God. When you refuse to listen to God is when darkness reigns. Darkness will reign when you do not do the will of God. Darkness reigns when you think you know better than God. Darkness reigns when you say the opposite of what Jesus told you to say in the Lord's Prayer. Darkness will reign when you say, not thy will be done, God. May my will be done, God. That's when darkness reigns. And friends, when darkness reigns is when everything will become unraveled in your life. But let me be a reminder to you this Palm Sunday that you were not created to let darkness reign. You were created for something far greater, far better, for far more. What were you created for? Jesus says, Matthew 5:14, he says, you are the light of the world. That's what you're created for. That's why God designed you. He created you. He knit you together in your mother's womb, not so you could let darkness reign, so that you could let light reign. He finishes this verse, Matthew 5:14. Jesus says, you're the light of the world. A town built on a hill can't be hidden. A town on a hill can't be hidden. Friends, that's why this church is called Hills Church. Because we want to be a group of people who bring light to the people around us. A city on a hill, Hills Church. We are a city on a hill, a group of people, a movement called Hills Church. We want to be people who push back darkness. We want to be people who bring brightness, who bring the light. Look what Jesus says next in Matthew 5:15 and 16. He says, neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. No, instead they put it up on a stand. And it gives light to everyone in the house. And in the same way, let your light shine before others. Friends, you got to understand, Hills Church exists to let our light shine before others. This church, it's not about the facility. It's not about this building. This church is about a group of people, this group of people that steps up and says, I am called to be the light, so I'm going to do that. This church, Hills Church, it is our desire that we push back darkness and that we bring the light to Bloomfield, to Flora Vista, to Aztec. It's the desire of Hills Church that we bring the light to Kirtland, to Shiprock, to the Navajo Nation. It's our desire at Hills Church that we bring the light to Hesperus, to Mancos, to Cortez. It's our desire at Hills Church to bring light to Durango, to Bayfield, to Pagosa. It's our desire for Hills Church to bring light to Albuquerque, to Rio Rancho, to Santa Fe, especially Santa Fe. It is our desire at Hills Church to be the light, because Jesus never intended you to be the darkness, to let darkness reign. Jesus said, you're the light of the world. So as we wrap up our time together today, I got a question for you. During your hour, will things get darker or brighter? If it's up to you, are things going to get darker? Are things going to get worse? Or are things going to get better? Things are going to get brighter? During your hour, will things get brighter or darker? This is Holy Week. We're stepping in, venturing into Holy Week. And there's people, I believe, that are in your sphere of influence that would come this next Sunday, 1 week from today on Easter. They would come if you extended the invitation. For many of you, you've never extended the invitation. Why not? We got invite cards out in the plaza. We got door hangers out in the plaza. But truth be told, I don't even think you need that. I think you could just extend the invitation, send a text message, say, listen, I'm going to the 7 a.m. service. That would be a lie for you. Whatever service that you'd be going to, maybe shoot off a text message and say, hey, this is the service I'm going to at Hills Church on Easter morning. Would you like to join me? And perhaps in the back of your mind, you could be reminded during your hour, you're called to not make things darker, but make things brighter. So I hope you choose to come this Friday. I hope you choose to come on Sunday as well. Friday, as a reminder, 2 service times for Good Friday. Got 2 service times, 5 o'clock and 6:30. I just told you the wrong service time. Shame on me. 5 and 6:30. And during the Good Friday service, we're going to pick up where we left off. This group of people comes into the garden, and they're there to arrest Jesus. And he says, oh, y'all are doing too much. You showed up with swords and clubs and all this. It's too much, but this is your hour when darkness reigns. And what happens next? What happens next is where we're going to pick up the story on Good Friday. So I hope you choose to come back to either the 5 or the 6:30 service on Good Friday. And then 1 week from today on Easter, we got 4 services, 7 o'clock, 8:30, 10 o'clock, 11:30. Pick whichever one works best for you. Serve one and attend one. We'd love to have you come, but bring a +1. Bring somebody else with you, because we are called to not make things darker, but make things brighter. You and I are the light of the world. Let's be the light. In Holy Week, leading up to the busiest day in every church around the globe, let's be the light that encourages other people to join you as you hear the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Don't let darkness reign in your hour. Let light reign.